Really? Check your lease agreement. You'll find MY's signature as co-owner. Imagine walking into a store you partially own, only to be accused of stealing because of the color of your skin. That's exactly what happened to Marcus Chun, a black venture capitalist who just closed a 7-figure deal acquiring half of Riverside Shopping Plaza. He'd stopped by unannounced on a Saturday, dressed casually in a hoodie and jeans, to quietly observe operations. But the moment he picked up a leather wallet to examine it, store manager Diane Fletcher made a decision that would end her career and expose the ugly prejudice hiding behind her professional smile. Today, she was about to learn that assumptions based on skin color can cost you everything. Marcus had been waiting 3 months for this moment. The acquisition paperwork had finally cleared. A 50% partnership with the Hartman Group, giving him oversight of 12 retail stores, 3 restaurants, and the entire East Wing. His lawyers had warned him about going public too soon, but Marcus believed in a different approach. His father had taught him, "You want to know what you really bought? Show up at a customer. That's when you see the truth." So here he was inside Prestige Leather Goods on the plaza's 2nd floor, his worn Stanford hoodie and faded jeans making him blend with weekend shoppers. The store smelled of leather and cologne. Jazz played overhead. Display cases gleamed under spotlights. Marcus examined a burgundy wallet. Italian leather, hand-tooled edges, brass hardware. He photographed the supplier tag, VL 2891. Old habit from his venture capital days. Document everything. This vendor relationship was worth keeping. As he turned the wallet over, he felt it, that familiar prickle on the neck every black man learns to recognize. Someone was watching. He glanced up. Diane Fletcher stood 15 feet away, arms crossed, blue eyes tracking his every movement. Her face was neutral, but her body language screamed suspicion. She'd positioned herself between Marcus and the exit, hand near the phone on her belt. Marcus had seen this look too many times. In libraries, department stores, airport lounges. The "I'm watching you" stare that black men navigate like landmines. He glanced at his watch, a vintage Patek Philippe his father had given him when his first startup sold. Diane's eyes followed the movement, lingered on the watch, then snapped back to his hoodie. Her face hardened. Expensive watch, casual clothes, black man. Her mental algorithm couldn't reconcile it, so she defaulted to the easiest conclusion. Stolen. Marcus set the wallet down and prepared to leave. No confrontation. Not today. But Diane moved fast, heels clicking sharply. "Excuse me, SIR." Her voice cut through the jazz like a knife, loud enough to turn every head. "I need you to empty your pockets." The store froze. 3 other customers, an elderly couple examining briefcases, and a young woman trying on gloves, stopped mid-motion. The employee at the register, a young black woman whose name tag read Keisha, looked up sharply, eyes widening with recognition. She'd seen this before. Marcus turned slowly, hands visible. "I'm sorry." "Your pockets," Diane repeated with false patience. "Empty them. Now. Everything." He kept his hands where she could see them. "Ma'am, I haven't purchased anything. I was just browsing." "That's precisely the problem." She stepped closer. "You've been browsing expensive merchandise for 10 minutes, touching items, checking tags, photographing products. Classic theft reconnaissance. So either you empty your pockets or I call security." Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. Not anger. He'd learned anger was a luxury black men couldn't afford. It was calculation, the mathematics of racism. He had 2 choices, both costly. Escalate. Demand her supervisor. Refuse the illegal search. Make a scene. Watch as she calls security anyway, as he becomes the angry black man. Or comply. Empty his pockets like a suspect. Prove his innocence. Swallow the humiliation. How many times? The question echoed. How many stores, libraries, streets had he stood proving he wasn't a threat? His father's words came back. Even when you own the building, some folks will only see your skin. Don't let it break you. Use it to build something better. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but exhaustion. The fatigue of proving his humanity over and over. "I don't have anything that belongs to this store," he he said carefully. "But if it'll resolve this, I'm happy to show you." He pulled out his items slowly. Phone, wallet, Mercedes keys, gum. Laid them on the display case with precision. The elderly couple exchanged uncomfortable glances. The young woman had her phone out, recording. Diane examined the items. Lips pressed in. Finding nothing, she pivoted. "Turn out your hoodie pocket." "It's empty." "Then you won't mind showing me." He pulled it inside out. Empty except for lint. Satisfied, Diane's face flushed red. She'd been so certain. "Keisha," she snapped. "Did you see him take anything?" Keisha shifted uncomfortably. She'd worked here 18 months, saving for university. She'd watched this scene before. Managers following black shoppers while white customers browse freely. Heard the code words, "suspicious," "doesn't match our demographic." She wanted to speak up 100 times. But rent was due, her mother's medication cost $200 monthly, and jobs were scarce. "No, ma'am," Keisha said softly. "I saw him looking at wallets, but I didn't see him take anything." "You weren't watching him?" Diane's voice rose. "A guy dressed like that, in a store like this, and you let him wander unsupervised?" The elderly man cleared his throat. "Miss, perhaps this is gone." "Stay out of this." Diane cut him off. Her voice dropped into something uglier. "Look, I've managed luxury retail for 15 years. I know my clientele. I know who walks through that door and actually makes purchases." She stepped closer. "People who can afford our products don't show up looking like they rolled out of bed. They don't need to examine merchandise. They buy what they want. And honestly, people like you don't just browse in stores like this. You either have money to spend, which I seriously doubt, or you leave. People like you." The store went silent. The young woman's phone was still recording. The couple looked horrified. Keisha's hands froze midair. Marcus felt something shift inside him. For 3 months, he'd been the invisible investor, planning to ease into his ownership role gradually. But Diane Fletcher had just forced his hand. She'd revealed exactly why he'd bought into this plaza, to change moments like these. "People like me," Marcus repeated slowly, voice quiet but sharp as a blade. "What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Fletcher?" Her name tag. He'd noticed it immediately. Diane blinked, caught off guard. I didn't mean..." "You didn't mean to profile me based on my clothing? You didn't mean to assume I was a thief because I'm a black man in a hoodie? You didn't mean to humiliate me in front of witnesses because I don't fit your image of who belongs here? Now wait." "No, you wait." The coldness in his voice stopped her. "You made assumptions. You acted on them. You publicly accused me. And now you face the consequences. Have you ever been presumed guilty before you could speak? Ever felt eyes tracking you like you didn't belong? What would you do if someone judged you by appearance instead of character? Drop a comment. Where are you watching from? And if you believe no one should be criminalized for their skin color, hit that like button. Subscribe to Story Arc for stories that expose injustice and prove dignity always wins. Diane's face went pale. Something in his tone, his sudden command of the space, made her hesitate. Who do you think you are?" Marcus pulled out his phone. 3 taps. Email inbox. Subject: Final acquisition documents, Riverside Plaza Partnership. He turned the screen toward her. The glow illuminated her face as color drained completely. Her eyes widened. Her mouth opened soundlessly. "I'm Marcus Chun. As of 93 days ago, I own 50% of Riverside Shopping Plaza. This store, its inventory, its lease, its management. I'm your employer's employer. And right now, I'm deciding whether gross misconduct and racial profiling are grounds for immediate termination, or if you can learn from this." Diane's legs seemed to give out. She reached for the display case to steady herself. Behind her, Keisha's eyes went wide, hand flying to her mouth. The elderly couple gasped. The young woman lowered her phone, smiling. That's not possible," Diane stammered. "I would have been notified." "Check your lease. Article 7, Section 3. Co-ownership transfer effective 90 days from signing. Today is day 93. Your regional manager got the memo Thursday. You were scheduled for briefing Monday." He paused. I wanted to see operations before you knew I was watching. Congratulations. I've seen exactly what I needed. Marcus bent smoothly and picked up the wallet. He turned it over deliberately. Italian leather, hand-tooled edges, brass hardware, supplier code VL 2891, Venetian Leather Company. I approved this vendor contract 3 weeks ago. He set it back with proprietary precision. The question was never whether I could afford what you sell, Miss Fletcher. The question is whether you're good enough to sell it. Absolute silence. Mr. Chun, Diane whispered, I swear I didn't know. I would never. You didn't know who I was, but you knew what I was. That's all you needed. Black man. Hoodie. That was your calculation. And that's the problem. Because the next black man through that door might not own half the building. He might just be a customer buying a gift. And if you treat him like you treated me, it won't just be your job on the line. It'll be the store's reputation. Every employee who depends on it. And the message we send about who's welcome here. The elderly man approached, hand extended. Young man, I apologize. We should have spoken up sooner. What happened was wrong, and our silence made us complicit. Marcus shook his hand. Thank you. That means more than you know. Silence enables these moments. Speaking up end them. The young woman stepped forward. Mr. Chen, I'm posting this to social media. People need to see this. Is that okay? He nodded. Yes, please do. But blur Keisha's face. She's not part of the problem. Keisha spoke up, voice shaking but determined. Mr. Chun, this happens all the time. Not just here, but across the plaza. Black customers followed, questioned, watched like criminals. I see it every shift, and I never knew who to tell. I care, Marcus said firmly. And starting today, we do something about it. He turned back to Diane. Here's what happens next. First, you apologize. Not to me, to Keisha for putting her in an impossible position. To these customers for creating a hostile environment. Do it now. Tears streamed down Diane's face. I'm so sorry. Keisha, I never should have made you complicit. I'm sorry. She turned to the others. I'm sorry you witnessed that. I was wrong. Marcus waited until she finished. Second, you're suspended pending investigation. Corporate will review today's incident, your history, any complaints. Whether you keep this job depends on what they find. HR contacts you within 48 hours. He called another number. James? Marcus? I'm at Prestige Leather Goods. We need you here. Now. Thanks. He addressed the growing crowd. This isn't about revenge. This is about creating spaces where everyone feels safe to shop and work without being prejudged. Ms. Fletcher made choices rooted in bias. Now we all choose, learn and do better or ignore it, and guarantee it happens again. Which do you choose? The elderly woman spoke firmly. We choose learning. Thank you for handling this with grace you didn't have to show. Yes, I could have destroyed her and walked away, Marcus replied quietly. But then what changes? We replace one person but leave the system intact? No. If I own this space, I transform it. That's the responsibility of power. Within 15 minutes, James Hartman arrived, Marcus's business partner, a silver-haired white man in his 60s wearing a tailored suit. He took in the scene, expression hardening. Ms. Fletcher, your employment is terminated immediately. You'll receive contractual severance, but you're banned from all plaza properties. Keisha, your interim manager with manager pay starting today. We'll discuss permanent placement after you consider if you want it. Keisha's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. I won't let you down. James turned to the elderly couple. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, I'm James Hartman, co-owner. Please accept 50% off anything you purchase today, and our sincere apologies. He shook Marcus's hand. Partner, I'm sorry. This is exactly the culture we bought into change. We should have moved faster. We start today. Mandatory bias training across every store. Updated hiring practices prioritizing diversity. Community oversight board with real power. Anonymous reporting channels for employees like Keisha. If we own these spaces, we make them better. Agreed. Legal draft the policies by end of week. As security escorted Diane away, the young woman approached Marcus. "How did you stay so calm? I would have lost it." Marcus smiled sadly. "I've had too much practice." But anger would have given her an excuse. "I'm threatening. She's the victim." Calm makes people confront exactly what they did. No deflection, just the mirror of their actions. That's more powerful than rage. He looked around, at Keisha straightening inventory with new confidence, at the Pattersons selecting a briefcase with joy, at staff gathering to hear James explain new policies. For the first time in hours, hope took root in his chest. Besides, I didn't do this just for me. I did it for every black kid who will walk in here next week, next month, next year. They deserve to shop without suspicion, to browse without surveillance, to exist without proving they belong. That's what ownership really means. Not just property deeds, but power to change the experience for everyone who comes after. The young woman's eyes filled with tears. "You're going to go viral. In the best way." "Good. Let it go viral. Let people see what happens when you assume criminality by skin color. Let them see accountability is possible. Maybe it makes the next Diane Fletcher think twice. Maybe it emboldens the next Keisha to speak up sooner. Maybe it reminds witnesses that silence is complicity." As he left, not as a suspected thief, but as the owner he'd always been, Marcus caught his reflection in the glass door. Same hoodie, same jeans, but something had shifted. Invisibility had lifted. Silence had broken. Behind him, he heard Keisha greeting a new customer, a young black man browsing messenger bags. "Welcome to Prestige Leather Goods. Let me know if you need help. And please take your time." The young man smiled, visibly relaxing. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. That was why. Not for satisfaction of Diane's firing. Not for validation he belonged, but for that moment. One black man shopping without suspicion. Welcomed without conditions. He pushed through the doors into sunlight. The plaza stretched before him, his plaza, his responsibility, his chance to make it better. "Marcus." James jogged to catch up. "Where to?" "We should debrief, start those policy changes." Marcus turned, smiling fully for the first time all day. "Let's walk through the other stores." Unannounced. "I want to see what else needs changing." James laughed. "You're going to give someone else a heart attack, aren't you?" "Not if they treat people right. Come on, partner. We got work to do." As they walked to the plaza, the black venture capitalist and his white business partner moving through space they owned but treated like it belonged to everyone. Marcus thought about his father's words. Even when you own the building, some people will only see your skin. Don't let it break you. Use it to build something better. He'd done more than build something better. He'd torn down something worse. And that was just the beginning. Because sometimes the man they call a thief owns a whole damn building. And he's just getting started. If you believe dignity and justice shouldn't depend on how much power you have, hit that like button. If you think every Diane Fletcher needs accountability for racial profiling, drop a comment sharing your experience or thoughts. And if you want more stories exposing prejudice and celebrating truth winning, subscribe to Story Arc. Because standing up to racism starts with telling these stories and continues when people like you refuse to stay silent. Together, we transform spaces, one moment of courage at a time.